Okay, so here's our text adventure project. It mainly uses while statements that loops a bunch of ifs or else ifs to check a player's decision through it's 4 or 5, really 5 different miniature story arcs that kind of loop into each other. And then occasionally there's a for statement that checks a player's inventory for certain items, which is stored using an array list. And there's also a few other gameplay mechanics using these 2 variables that'll be seen a bit. So if we fire it up, every single time you'll see this first one's kind of long because it's just the introduction. There's a bit of text that kind of just outlines the actual story. And then at the end, there'll be something like, what do you do? What do you choose? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And then there's going to be this, it's going to be kind of formatted like this, where basically it'll be 2 to 4 options, I believe. Well, actually, one time it's 6. And then basically, this is what the player will have to type to proceed, or if they die or whatever. And then caps doesn't matter, but they have to basically type the same thing. And say I type something random at first, it'll just keep asking me, but then eventually at some point in this story, which I'll get to real quick, you won't be able to do that anymore because there's a mechanic involved that I will get to shortly. And at this point, now it's more like 1 or 2 sentences of story that kind of continues on. Right here, this is the first instance of where it's checking the inventory, because here you see a ring glistening in the dark. Do you pick it up or do you not? And then if you pick it up, then nothing. You pick it up or you don't. Either way, you'll get to this prompt. And then right here, say I didn't pick up the ring, and I try to pick up the dagger, it won't work because it's required. But because I did pick up the ring, I can try to pick it up, and successfully lets me pick it up. Now this is just kind of like a little, joke thing if you do it, because the whole theme of this is it's demons and dark magic and stuff. So left hands, just historically and stuff, people always thought like lefties were kind of evil for one reason or another. So that was just kind of a thing that we decided to add. And then this is where that other mechanic I was mentioning, let me just type yes so I can introduce it. And basically what this says is that there's a phrase, and this is the phrase, you have to speak this phrase basically in the presence of an enemy. And if you ever speak it incorrectly, then you'll die, because the game assumes that you have the intent of saying it. So for the few interactions that are requiring you to fight an enemy or to make a decision against an enemy, you won't really be able to answer incorrectly, because if you do, it'll take it as if you have said this phrase incorrectly and you'll die. And then this counter here is basically, it's being decreased every time you use it, and you can only use the spell 2 times, so basically every time you use it, it's going to get slower and lower, and then once this equals 0 and you try to use it again, you will die. But there really isn't that much of an opportunity to use it unless you're just constantly using it. And right here, this is just, and in future references, the player won't be told what the phrase is. So I'll just type it in. Because like here, this is the prime example of it. It'll say throw a bone here, because that's what you'd have to type. But when it says this, it says speak the phrase. You don't type speak the phrase. You'd have to remember this and you have to say it correctly. So let me just type it out, because that is the right choice for this one. And then you keep going, and then here, the correct thing is the bone, and you just kind of proceed through it. And then here is one of the ones where it doesn't really require you to say the phrase, so I can just kind of do whatever I want, and it'll keep asking me to make a decision. Whoops. And then you continue through. This one's a little bit longer than most text because it's just kind of, it's kind of like a little joke section, so it's a bit longer than the other one. And this one's just basically kind of like a joke save point. Yeah, this is kind of like a joke save point. So you just kind of continue. If you say I'm done, it ends the game right then and there. No. And then basically the game just continues, and then here's another thing where it'll be kind of looking through what you have, And the things that you pick up are added to your inventory. And here they're just kind of summarized. These are things that you guaranteed. This really doesn't use a for statement because these are things that you're guaranteed to have no matter what at this point. So then you pick one and then you progress the story. And then in the end, you just kind of win. And against this like final boss kind of thing. And then it's kind of looping and you become the final boss. And it's kind of that whole thing. So yeah, that's really it.